Obviously, listen, I am very thankful that we got out to a spot tonight where you're starting to feel a little bit better about some of the guys that has struggled a little bit at the plate. And on top of that, it is nice to see Trevino continue to be more productive at the plate than we could ever have imagined. And probably the lead story of the game is Andrew Abbott, even though the Reds scored eight runs. I don't know your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Reds have won 7 out of 10, and they completely blew 2 games in that stretch. So, I mean, Reds are certainly playing a lot better baseball. The offense is playing a lot better. I mean, let's just read through the totals here. Last however many games it is, 6 runs, 5 runs, 5 runs, 4 runs, 8 runs, 3 runs, 7 runs, 8 runs. So that's certainly a step in the right direction. There's still, I think, some concerns offensively, but they're given that they're significantly better than what we saw the first couple weeks of the season. But yeah, Andrew Abbott is clearly the story of this one.
Yeah, he looked as good as he's ever looked since he's been up here, which is, I think, a pretty solid statement considering how well he threw the ball when he first came up, the previous year, 2023. And I guess I still like Carson Spires. I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't, but it's kind of like what you said. I think that from a depth perspective, it does feel like we have a good amount of interchangeable parts on the back end of this rotation that allow the Reds to have some comfortability, if you want to call it that, if guys have to miss starts every so often. I obviously don't think that they could go prolonged periods of time and having guys, miss chunks of the season. But it is nice to know that if you need to give Andrew Abbott, maybe a start or 2 off, you need to give Spires, Rhett Lauder. Maybe I'm far-fetched by saying, a guy like Chase Burns. But my point still stands. If you get towards the end of this year and you need to miss starts for guys, you still feel good about the guy that probably gets put back into that spot. And Andrew Abbott, I don't expect him to throw the ball again this well. It is funny about Andrew Abbott. We've done that. How long are we going to do this, though, Nick? I mean, we do this. We keep doing this. The peripheral stats don't look great, but the stats themselves look pretty good, and the overall appearance and outings that he puts on the actual field look good. So at some point, you just kind of buy in. I kind of feel like we did that with Matt McClain when he first came up, right? It's like, you guys shouldn't really expect this because there's some peripherals, there's some things that he did in the minors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. Now it feels like kind of Matt McClain's that guy. So I don't know how much longer Andrew Abbott has to do this, but it seems like he's approaching to be that guy.
Well, the peripherals look pretty good tonight. 11 strikeouts, 19 swing and misses.
Right.
You do that consistently, there'll be no talk about smoke and mirrors and
your
stuff
FIP
plus and xERA.
Well, I'm just saying, you get into the stuff plus and all that, then it kind of starts to maybe look a little different. But at the end of the day, that kind of I'm not into all that, but I understand those that are.
Well, it was not just this; it was the stuff plus and the things like FIP and xERA. I'm sure today would look fantastic, but Andrew Abbott, he struck out 10 batters once last year, and then he didn't strike out more than 8 in any start the rest of the year. I mean, so 11 strikeouts in the second start of the year is pretty incredible. And this isn't an Orioles team that's a massive strikeout team. They were middle of the pack last year. They're middle of the pack this year. So he was incredible. I mean, I was actually at the start that he set a career high in strikeouts against the Padres in 2023. I remember that. And that's probably the only time I think he's looked better. I mean, that day against that Padres lineup, he was unbelievable. I mean, he was just painting the corners. He had them fooled all night. It felt like that again tonight. And yes, this is an Orioles lineup that is struggling, but they had just played their 2 best games of the year back to back coming into tonight. So they were feeling good coming into this game. So yeah, I'm excited about Andrew Abbott. Certainly don't expect this all year, but if he is able to get just a little bit more of the swing and miss, when you parlay that with his ability to, induce contact and kind of what he's done, that can be a really good, at least middle of the rotation arm.
Yeah, Again, I'm going to pump the brakes here on Andrew Abbott a little bit and just say that, if he throws the ball even remotely close to what he's been throwing the ball, I'm going to still be pleasantly, happy with all of it. Innings is important. He continues to put innings together. I think that, I'm not on an opening night. The most underappreciated thing that I think happens more times than not is probably the fact of how deep you have to go into a bullpen on the first night of a 3-game set, because it does have kind of that cumulative effect over the series of whether or not you dip your hand in that bullpen well too soon, and you come Sunday, you're kind of in a tough spot with some different situations because you've already burned through guys on Friday and Saturday. You never know. There's no guarantees, but we've seen starters in the past, a la Hunter Green, throw the ball so well on Friday that allows you to do things on Saturday and Sunday that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. So we'll keep an eye on that as well.